When we say सारा जहां से अच्छा, हिंदुस्तान हमारा, हम बुलबुले हैं इसके, ये गुलसिता हमारा. What is this, sir? We're talking of a garden where there'll be various flowers, there'll be various birds, there'll be various scents, and there'll be bees that will be interconnecting between the flowers. That Gulsita is our country. Let us not target any one specific group or anything else for our narrow, petty, immediate prospects. That in the long run will only undermine all of us together.
In the vast landscape of Indian politics, some voices echo quietly yet powerfully. Sitaram Yechury, scholar, activist, politician, was one such voice. You may not have heard of him, but you've heard of his ideals. In every protest for justice, every plea for equality, every voice raised against oppression. He was born into a middle-class Telugu-speaking family from Madras, in a country still in search of its own destiny. Sitaram Yechury was not born into politics. There was no sudden awakening, no revolutionary spark, just a quiet insistence on asking questions. As a student, he was brilliant, a topper in school, gifted in mathematics. But it wasn't numbers that drew him, it was people. We spoke to some of Sitaram Yechury's school friends who watched the foundations of his ideals take shape in his early years.
There's an old Urdu shair, because Sitaram and me were very influenced by IPTA, Indian people say, कि धूल चेहरे पे है और आप आईना साफ करते जा रहे हैं. So actually the country is going through this mess and you are blaming the politicians. You are to be blamed. So I think this shaming of public intellectuals and this disdain from them, this moral high ground that intellectuals have, I think it isn't. Sitaram lived his life. He did whatever he could do. I'm sure none of my us could have even done that much, because he was honest, he was faithful, he was genuine, he was passionate, and he was kind to everybody, right? So I think that is what we have to bring in, the public spiritedness in the intellectual. Otherwise, it will be an intellectual of an ivory tower, right? And sitting and reading more of Marxism and practicing hardly anything.
I watched 2 elections there. Yeah. Both elections were very interesting, very good. And Sitaram was very good, too good. And I used to know in advance whenever there was some activity where involvement, for example, the second elections took place and there's something went wrong in the first and they took the second election. So I had seen him speaking I used to stay back late night on Saturdays and Sundays whenever there, see him speaking along with other participants or other people on various issues, and really I was hats off to him. The first time I see him a different person, where with so much of commitment, so much of involvement, so much of understanding of, it's not that it is related to only JNU campus. The topics or subject matters was so wide, and it was more related to Indian context or a national context. And discussions used to be fantastic, very beautiful.
As a person, amongst so many people I've met in life, he is one person they made a genuine contribution to India. Whether he succeeded or not fully to our ambition is another matter. But he led a fulsome life amidst a party with a lot of problems, etc., etc. Thus, I think none of us have contributed that kind of a thing that he has done for India and our sort of dreams of what India should be. We are very far away from it, but I think Sitaram has done it. So there's a lot to learn from and be thinking, saying that's the way to live.
See, also, whatever I have seen him even in 2015, 2014, first time I initiated along with a couple of our schoolmates to start the reunion activities for 50 years. I made calls to all over the world. So accordingly I got the number of Sita. Sita also made a call. Immediately recognized that's one good part of it. Yeah. He remembered and he responded so positive and he was so friendly. Yeah. And I knew him that is a different kind of person now, a different level or status or national politics level. Yeah. But he was down to earth. He was just like what he was in school. And that quality was really liked by every one of us. He went and hugged everybody, spoke to everybody, talked to everybody. We also interacted with him. And when he left also, everybody was feeling for it that we're missing him all the time. But fine, he is so busy, we can't keep him on with us all the time.
By the time he arrived at Jawaharlal Nehru University in Delhi in the 1970s, the campus was restless, as was the nation itself. The world outside even more so. Vietnam, Chile, Bangladesh, each global tremor echoed in the corridors of JNU, encouraging the students to look for new ways and means to build a better India. His experience in JNU didn't radicalize him. It reaffirmed what he already knew. That silence is dangerous, and complicity even more so when the nation is caged. When the people restored democracy after emergency, he was one among those who understood the fragility of democracy.
During emergency, we did not allow the university court meeting inside the university. Mrs. Indira Gandhi was our chancellor. We said we are protesting against emergency, we will not hold. Allow that meeting. It was taken to Vigyan Bhavan. We fought against assaults on democracy. Likewise, today with renewed vigor, people are fighting assaults on our secular order.
And decided to dedicate his life to strengthening constitutional democracy, to build a better India, a socialist India. We also had the opportunity to talk to Indian economist and his dear friend, giving us an insight of working with him over the years and his long-standing friendship.
What struck me about Sitaram was that it's not possible to dislike him. He's such a pleasant, friendly person. Therefore, when he came and he addressed meetings and he contested elections, even those who did not belong to or who did not share his political beliefs voted for him. They were not his political followers, but Sitaram had a charm. He charmed people. And I think that went a long way in his political career. However, if you look at him, the way he conducted himself in Parliament and his writings, they give you an idea of his conception of India, what he wanted India to be, and his deep understanding of the crisis that we are undergoing. And of course, he used to joke to many of us, he used to say, to neoliberal capitalism, SITA means socialism is the alternative. That's what he used to say. So SITA is the alternative. That was jocularly, although he said it, but that was his conviction. Today's political context, where you need somebody to bring all the secular, democratic, pluralist forces together in India, which he had the gift to do that. And he also had this gift of hammering into shape a common minimum program, which he did it earlier very successfully. Today, more than ever, I think somebody like Sitaram is needed for Indian politics. And sadly, this is the time when we need him most. He's gone away.
The young activist became a communist and plunged into the struggles of toiling masses, travelled across the length and breadth of the country in service of the people. He also got into international arena, interacted with many heads of the states and intellectuals of international repute. When he became a parliamentarian, he put all these experiences for a better use and proved himself as a master narrator.
But the point is, the creating an egalitarian society where, as the Constitution promises, we give irrespective of caste, creed and sex, unquote. irrespective of caste, creed and sex, equality. That is the equality we have given to ourselves in this constitution. हमारे जिस्म टुकड़े टुकड़े हो सकते हैं, लेकिन इस देश को टुकड़े नहीं होने देंगे. हम इस टेररिज्म के खिलाफ हम खड़े हैं.
But Sitaram Yechury never treated politics like a game. He treated it like a responsibility. Whether defending the rights of workers, challenging neoliberal economic policies, or warning against creeping authoritarianism, Yechury stood tall. Often alone, but never unsure of his goal of building a better India. He wore many hats in his lifetime, spoke many languages, and politics was one among them. He loved cinema, the kind that challenged one to think and reflect on one's biases. He once suggested you can learn more from Satyajit Ray than from 100 policy papers.
A lot of us, whether it's Sitaram or me, got a lot of our inspiration from Raj Kapoor and Guru Dutt and all that, right? But what happened? JNU intellectuals took over. Look, the world is not all academics and scholarship. The world is the beauty, the inherent beauty of human beings. You know, the ability to be romantic, to be elusive, to be sort of thing. I think Sitaram had that in good measure.
Music, in the sense I love all types of music. I may have my preferences within that type, whether it's Western classical or Indian classical or, your film music, South Indian film music, my origin. So I like all sorts of music. And Carnatic.
He loved cricket, not as a nationalist spectacle, but for the patience and unpredictability of the game. He read constantly and wrote quietly, from Tagore to Tolstoy, Marx to Ambedkar, and he wrote with clarity and compassion. His essays weren't just arguments, they were invitations to think, to question, to dream. Not slogans, essays, thoughtful, dense and grounded. Maybe in a different era, someone like Sitaram Yechury might have seemed ordinary, a politician who spoke in complete sentences, a Marxist who read his critiques. But today he stands out, not because he is louder, but because he isn't. His leadership wasn't about domination, it was about direction. And perhaps that's what we forget, that the most powerful revolutions don't always come from those in power, but from those who keep hope alive when power forgets the people. In a country where political memory is short, Sitaram Yechury's life is a reminder that ideology is not the enemy of progress, that protest is not the opposite of patriotism, that personal is political and always has been.
सीढ़ियों पे एक गाना, बढ़िया गाना है।
ये कौन सा?
दिल का भंवर करे पुकार,
दिल का भंवर करे पुकार,
प्यार का राग सुनो रे।